Everybody seems to be calling themselves a targeted individual nowadays, and often these kind of people are labeled crazy. But are they for real? What is this thing, a targeted individual? Simply, it's just a victim of gangstalking and electronic harassment, which doesn't end, and it goes on for a long time, for weeks and months and years. And such a victim is constantly under attack, and their whole life is sabotaged. Their career, their health, everything that sort of is life is completely sabotaged. Um, Targeted individuals are often labeled crazy, delusional. They sort of, when they try and explain what's happening to them, it seems like somebody who needs help, and seems like surely there must be some kind of pill or institution that can sort of take your paranoia away. And unfortunately, the rest of society is in the dark, because the explanations just don't make sense. It doesn't make sense as to why a group of people would be constantly, sort of 24 hours a day, going after one individual, sabotaging everything. It just sounds a bit childish. It sounds a bit insane. It sounds a bit crazy that somebody would use electronic harassment on a normal, non-criminal, or just a very defenseless and helpless person. So all of it sounds unbelievable, and it doesn't sort of, it's not rational. But it is real. It's happening. And I think most of the confusion is when the victim tries to explain. And for every explanation, there's a bit of a counter argument, or when victim tries to explain that I'm hearing voices in my head constantly, which is voice to skull. That counter argument to that would be like there's a mental disease, there's a mental illness for that. It's called schizophrenia. So just get help and go to hospital, take your medication. When the victim says, but yeah, it's not just hearing voices. People can read my mind and can anticipate my next move and can, they know what I'm doing. The counter argument would be such a technology doesn't exist. How is that even possible? That sounds a little bit too voodoo-like. It's completely out of this world. So you have to be nuts. You've got to be crazy. Victim tries to say, but it's not just mind reading. That's why my career, and I've got no money. I'm poor. I'm broke. And the counter argument would be, every person should take responsibility for themselves. If you're good at your job, you wouldn't lose your job. If you're hardworking enough, if you put enough faith and hard work in anything, you can achieve anything you want. So victim goes forward and explain that I've lost all my friends. I've got no relationships. My partner, girlfriend, boyfriend has left me. My family's against me. And counter argument would be, hey, but if you're a positive person, if you're a lively person, if you're in a good mood, if you're just constructive, if you're just a good vibe person, type of person, then surely you should be able to make lots of friends. So it seems like every explanation that the targeted individual gives, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't kind of make sense. And how many TRs are actually there in the world? There's no official number. I've tried to come up with a guesstimate. I guess there's about over 3 million people that are actually targeted, and they're real. This is the whole world. And this number is growing, which means in 10 years' time, I'm still guessing there could be over 10 million perpetrators across the whole world. And who can be targeted? It can be anybody. It could also be children, could be pets. And targeting a person, this whole thing of gang stalking and being a targeted individual, it's a crime. So just like anybody can get shot, or anybody can be robbed, or anybody can be sort of mugged, or have an unfortunate crime happen to them. And the typical hardships of what any sort of victim goes through, I mean, biggest one is health. They are under constant pain. Usually there's a fake heart rate, there's a pain to the brain. The brain has actually been systematically destroyed. There's pain in other organs of the body as well. There's just all kinds of pain that you can imagine. So electronic harassment is actually a weapon that's being used against the victim. There's also a mental and psychological kind of warfare. Sort of the victim doesn't have any kind of peace or quiet, and they're also under constant noise. There's a lot of strange events happening to them. There's a lot of bizarre events that keep on happening on a daily basis, and those events are strategically designed to throw them off and drive them to be insane. Another problem is that targeted individuals, typically, in most cases, they don't have any kind of privacy. This is how their attacks are so effective. They've got no privacy in their home, wherever they go. They've got zero privacy, so the attackers can see exactly what they're doing, everything they're doing. All communications are hacked, phone calls, emails, any kind of communications they have. And it's a case of the world is watching. It's almost like a big brother type of situation. Um, Another, perhaps the biggest one, is social status. Because targeted individuals are portrayed as being crazy, as being insane, you're bound to lose a lot of credibility right from the get-go. The attackers or the gangstalkers actually do make it a point to sort of carry out a defamation of character campaign, where they go out and label, or maybe create lies that the target is a criminal, or is some kind of involved in some kind of illegal dealings, or something along those kind of lines. And just losing friends and having no friends and having no relationships. I mean, just as a result of so much drama and so much negativity, and not having any kind of social status, that's bound to happen, and also being perceived as crazy. There's also what's called street theater, where there are a number of coordinated events by the perpetrators or the attackers. These events are just deliberately designed to sort of throw, or sort of get a reaction out of the victim. Something as good as road rage, where there could be a setup to try and incriminate the perpetrator or incriminate the victim. Life is hell for them. Life is hell for targeted individuals. There's nothing going their way. There's nothing pleasant. I mean, there's constant pain. It's unbelievable to think that you can be in pain and there's no medication. There's nothing that can help you. And it's suicide actually appears to be the only solution. It's a completely hopeless situation. I mean, all your friends, the relationships are turned against you. There's no money, there's no life, there's no joy, there's no, you can't even pray. And yeah, that's what being a targeted individual is about.